RMJ Movie Reviews back with an on-the-fly movie review of Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. Quentin Tarantino's latest movie. Well, starring Mr. Leonardo DiCaprio and Brad Pitt himself and a slew of other icons that pop up and make appearances in this film. And basically it tells the story of Leonardo DiCaprio, who was a career television and film actor, and basically he's starting to find that the marketplace is transitioning, and his career is changing along with the marketplace, and he fears that his career might be coming to an end, or he might be minimized from his leading man status, and how he deals with it. Brad Pitt is his partner in crime, his stunt double on all his productions, and he's his buddy who's kind of along the ride with him, you know, kind of having a little bit of self-reflection as well. I'm just gonna cut right to it. I really enjoyed this film. I really had no expectations for this film. I have been a fan of Tarantino since Reservoir Dogs. I liked Reservoir Dogs when I actually saw Reservoir Dogs when it first came to video back in the mid-90s. Me and a friend of mine snuck into Pulp Fiction when it came out when we were 13. We were 13 years old sneaking into Pulp Fiction. But I really enjoyed that movie, and I love Jackie Brown. I think it's underrated. And there's only one Tarantino movie I haven't seen is Inglourious Basterds. But I'm eventually going to go back to that. I just wasn't ever interested in seeing it. And I'm sorry, and I never finished Kill Bill 1 or 2. I've only seen pieces of it. So I was the only 3 that I haven't seen. But, you know, I will say I really, really, really enjoyed this film. Really, my personal opinion, I thought it was fantastic. First off, as always in any Tarantino movie, the performances are just, they're great. Leonardo DiCaprio, as always, he ever since This Boy's Life and Basketball Diaries, this dude has just gotten better and better and better over the years. Of course, within the last, I don't know, 10 years, 12 years, 15 years, whatever it is, my favorite movie that he's done has been The Departed. The Departed is still one of my favorites that DiCaprio has done in the last 15 years or whatever. I just love that movie. And Brad Pitt I've always been a fan of too, since all the way back to Seven. You know what I mean? Even though his character is very obnoxious in that movie. But everybody in this movie is very well done. I think the funnest thing about this movie is, digressing aside a little bit, I'm a person who loves acting. I love movies. Outside of just being a geeky YouTuber reviewer person, I mean, I actually have worked on films, shorts. I love the process of making films. I love the editing. I used to make home movies back when I was a preteen in the 90s, so I actually love the process of learning your lines, acting. I love editing. I love the lighting. I love the process of putting together the film. So I'm not just a person who's just watching it and just going like, whoa, I have no life. I just like movies. No. I enjoy the creative process. And that's what I love about this movie is Tarantino really shows you a lot of the creative process. He gives you little tidbits of how they shoot scenes, the production, how it's put together, the backlights. That's the funnest part. That's one of the things of why I used to love to go to Universal Studios back when it was a little bit smaller, like in the early, like when it first came, 90, 91, 92, is you really got to walk on those backlots and feel the productions, to just feel just how they create the illusion. And that's what I love is not only do you get a behind the scenes look of how did they create the illusions of these films and productions and westerns and all that stuff, you also get immersed in the actual illusion of this film and putting you back into that time and era from the little details that Tarantino puts in for different commercials, the different restaurants, their clothing, the cars, the music. The music is fantastic. I can't remember. There's one scene that I love that's towards the third act of the movie where I think it's Brad Pitt and Leonardo DiCaprio. I'm not going to give away any spoilers for what's happening in the scene. But either way, they're driving to a restaurant, and there's just this song playing, and they're riding. I believe that car is a Cadillac, guys. I'm sorry, I'm not up to snuff on my cars, but I think it's a Cadillac. And they're just riding this song. It's so fantastic. It just sets the mood of the scene. Two boys, they're about to just go to the bar and go chill and just friends be friends. I really, that is the funnest aspect of this entire movie, is really just the detail of the production. It's so fun to watch, and there's so many enjoyable scenes I like in this movie. But I really love the scene where Leonardo DiCaprio is he's doing like the little singing routine, and just DiCaprio's little nuances and mannerisms in his face. He nails what they would do in those little kind of things where you'd see actors singing and have the little go-go girls in the background. Just the nuances in DiCaprio's face. And the thing is, DiCaprio's not a dancer like that, but that wasn't the intent of the scene. But he pulls it off the way those guys used to pull it off, doing those little things. It's really a fantastic piece of not only filmmaking, production, and acting, from the go-go dancers to DiCaprio. He's great. Hands down, though, this is Brad Pitt's movie. Brad Pitt has been an awesome actor since way back when, and I'm gonna go old school, guys, because I'm a horror fan, when he did Cutting Class with Jill Shulin, Popcorn, the stepfather. Brad Pitt was good back in Cutting Class, guys. The movie's probably up on YouTube. Brad Pitt was in a slasher movie, guys. The great Brad Pitt. But look it up. It's on here on the tube. But Brad Pitt was even good in Cutting Class. He's been a great actor for years. I've always loved Brad Pitt. But this is his movie, and he has a very just relaxed, chilled, kind of indifference to this Hollywood system that's going on around him. Man, this is his movie, man. Brad Pitt is the freaking man. He's just the man. And what I love about Brad Pitt is he owns this movie and takes up so much space and charisma with almost like I'm going to do an 80s comparison. Like, remember how Don Johnson used to play the role of Sonny Crockett on Miami Vice. And at least in those first couple seasons, Don Johnson, and I think Don Johnson possesses this is what Don Johnson's strong suit is, how he could just be very relaxed, and he smiles and he charms, and he could easily woo women. And that's how Johnson carried that series. That's how Brad Pitt carries this movie. He just carries just this very just relaxed, he's still in control, even though he's chill, very mindful of his surroundings, nonchalant type of attitude. It is a fantastic performance, man. I love Brad Pitt in this movie. He's phenomenal, man. It is an excellent piece of acting. It's great. Some other players who pop up. Kurt Russell, come on, he's the man. Always delivers as usual. His scene with the Bruce Lee clone. I wasn't particularly crazy about kind of the bait and switch of what they did with Bruce Lee in that movie. That kind of a little bit ticked me off, but it was a funny scene. Glue Gallagher, I'm sorry if that's how you say his name, Return of the Living Dead, Nightmare on Elm Street 2, makes a very brief Keith David Roadhouse style appearance, and I do mean brief, but I'm happy he's there. Luke Perry, rest in peace. Excellent for his short time on screen. Timothy Olyphant, who I first saw him in Scream 2. He's great. Pacino, again, another great. Delivers a fantastic performance. He's not really doing the Any Given Sunday, he's not doing the Any Given Sunday thing, but he's fantastic as well. goodness, I forget her name, from Suicide Squad, who played Joker's girlfriend. Very pretty, very gorgeous. I wish she would have had a little bit more to do. I'm not gonna get too far into details with that aspect of the story of the Charles Manson piece of the story. I will say I'm only 37 years old, so I'm way too young to have been around when that happened, but I'm fully aware of Charles Manson. I've seen many documentaries about him. I know all about what happened at Roman Polanski's house. The awful, 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 disgustingly horrific thing. I noticed when I went into the theater, I think I was about probably one of the youngest people in there. I think everybody else was definitely in my parents' bracket. So they'd probably be more someone who the film may or may not piss them off. For me, I wasn't around when that happened, so I was kind of indifferent to it, but knowing the details of the crime, it is what it is. It's Tarantino. Tarantino does what he does. So that's up to you how you feel about that particular aspect of the story. I'm about to wrap this up because I've already been going on for 11 minutes. But anyway, as far as the movie being bloated and long, I was perfectly okay with that. This movie is an experience. So this isn't you sit down, Avengers style, although that's great. This is not that type of movie. This is an experience. You sit back, you experience the acting, the camaraderie, how the actors immerse themselves, how you get immersed into the time period. You are just living with these characters in this movie. So this is an experimental experience type of filmmaking. This isn't traditional bang bang type of filmmaking. This is mature filmmaking. The length didn't bother me, didn't feel slow. Did I nod off? Yeah, but that's because, you know, I do 12-hour shifts, you know, sometimes 4 days a week, sometimes 5 if I'm trying to get a little extra cash. So, you know, I'm a grown-up, I get tired. But it wasn't because the film was too slow. It's a fantastic movie. I loved it. This gets a high 10 out of 10 recommendation to me. Thumbs up the video, subscribe to the channel, share the video. Don't forget to hit the little bell and leave comments down below about Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. Please, no spoilers, guys. And excuse me, guys, I'm gonna finish my Arnold-a-thon. I'm gonna post my review for Predator tonight, and then Running Man's gonna be popping up. Sorry, guys, been having some rough personal things going on, so I've been a little bit slow, but I will post those reviews. All right, RMJ Movie Reviews, thank you for your patience, guys. I'll see you soon.